Stevenson Alley is not the best place in the world. You know, you go to it, it's basically like a open air drug den.
You know, the streets out here are an issue. You know, it's like not, healthy. It's not safe.
And so one of the ways people have thought about how can we change Stevenson Alley is to bring sports and recreation to the area.
We had this image of a public space that was really colorful and kind of something that we felt that the neighborhood would want.
And so there's a project in Vancouver, Canada called Alley Oop, where they totally transformed a city alley where they painted it in bright colors, put in some impromptu hoops, and it was transformational for the space.
We had been talking about it for quite a while, and I guess it kind of started to take form at the end, like this spring, kind of as the semester was winding down.
Figuring out the layout of the whole space, figuring out how much space we actually needed and how we wanted to configure the court.
When we had an art direction of the Philippine Vintage Sales, I automatically turned to Dre to kind of like take it to that place that we needed to bring it to.
This is really a project that is heavily dependent on many, many hands. So,
we are able to make this project happen because we got a generous grant from Zendesk to put this together, and then the city of San Francisco matched it, and so we started putting our heads together and really started to think like, how can we take this basketball court to the next level?
While I designed the court, I always had it in mind that this needed to be something that could be easily picked up by someone who has never painted a mural.
To be honest, I actually don't play basketball, so I knew I couldn't run the programming. So I reached out to my network of friends, and I was like, hey, do you know anybody who could help me like really take this concept to the next level and really run basketball programming? A friend of mine, Jason, connected me to Brian, and Brian happens to run a league called Triple Double Sports.
Yeah, I grew up in a rough neighborhood, so playing hoops at that particular court was not good for me.
Well, I personally played basketball growing up, and it was a big part of my adolescence and everything. So, my parents think it's really great that I'm designing a basketball court and stuff.
Once it's all said and done, it'll do a lot to really transform that space into feeling very lively, inviting, and vibrant. And I think those are kind of like sort of the core goals in sort of rehabbing that space.
My hopes for the Undiscovered Court is that it is like the next step into really revitalizing Stevenson Alley, and also really showing the world that, here in SOMA, Pilipinas, that we can take abandoned spaces and transform them into spaces not just for DJs or for food, but we could create new activations and new activities around sports.